There for Gonzaga. Woods wide open. His line drive three. Two Gonzaga players collide, but Dower comes away with the ball. David Stockton now playing the point guard. Harris short on that three.
Last couple of possessions, Butler's gotten away from their dribble weave action up top that I thought created some good looks for them early in this contest.
Aldridge used a screen that time. The freshman Cameron Woods. Dower another rebound. Gary Bell trying to feed the post. Instead, Dower, who has outside touch, the big man for three.
Dower scored 22 points in his last 36 minutes of play. He is offense off the bench, and he's starting to regain some of that feel and touch that he had in the latter stages a year ago.
Stegall, quick shot on the three, long rebound. Here's Eddie, 2-on-2. Guy Landry-Eddie right through the defense.
Gonzaga so good in transition, taking the offensive mistakes of Butler and turning them into points.
Offensive foul. Roosevelt Jones turns it over.
Gonzaga can hurt you in a variety of ways, and it's different looks and it's different players. You've seen Harris stretch it from the outside. Sam Dower at almost 7 feet. He's able to dial it up, and then Eddie, he's getting his second opportunity to play. He's trying to make the most of it, and Gonzaga's up by 5.
All right, Jonathan, thanks. Holiday Hoops here from Spokane as Gonzaga hosting Butler, and Gonzaga on a run. They lead Butler 15-10. We want to remind you tomorrow night on ESPN2, a college basketball doubleheader. Interesting matchup to start at 7 Eastern. Texas against the 6th-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. Then at 9 Eastern, Oklahoma State and Alabama. That's tomorrow on ESPN2.
Alabama coming off that loss on Saturday against Kansas State, where Kansas State's bench really pummeled Alabama. And for Oklahoma State and Travis Ford's team, they need to find some consistency for the Cowboys this year. And a couple of good matchups tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to watching both.
We got a good one here. Butler had the early lead, but Gonzaga's gone on a run, and Sam Dower's been a part of that. He'll be the inbounder for the homestanding Bulldogs. 2 Bulldogs in this matchup here tonight. Marquise Carter off the bench for the first time for Mark Few's team. Both Sacre and Dower out there at the same time in this lineup combination. Dower gets a touchdown low. Defense collapses on him, and he gives an elbow. Commits an offensive foul.
This is the one area Sam Dower has to improve upon, Dave, and we've talked about this before. Is he is a left-handed player. In everything he does, he wants to turn over that right shoulder, and the scouting report is on him. You see the defense collapsing on that right shoulder, trying to make things difficult for him.
Foul against Dower. Butler gets the ball back against some more Gonzaga pressure. Butler struggled with that pressure in the early going. Along the baseline, another lefty, Kyle Marshall scores. Eddie passed up the three. Carter shoots the three. No good. Saved in bounds by Butler, and Ronald Norred looks to his head coach Brad Stevens for a play call.
Marshall does such a good job working on the glass. Everybody remembers the NCAA tournament last year. 23 offensive rebounds in the NCAA tournament last year for Marshall.
Led all players in the tournament. Marshall setting a screen here, but Hopkins didn't use it. A foul called against Gonzaga, hand check foul. 15-12, Gonzaga with the lead. We want to remind you, you can always follow us on Twitter. Hashtag ESPN Home Court. Interact with us as we bring you another college basketball matchup tonight here from Spokane. We'd like to hear from you. On the inbound play, Butler. Ronald Norred, the senior point guard. Here's Marshall again. Another jumper for Kyle Marshall.
Good looking couple releases for him, and he's really trying to make that transition from being a guy off the bench to a guy that's counted on night in and night out to provide not only just offense, but also the rebounding that everybody knows that he's capable of.
They left Eddie wide open. He makes him pay.
When you think about the group of players that Mark Few has brought into this program this year, if Eddie can get some consistency off the bench, it makes him that much more dangerous.
Already a deep team, now a little deeper. Norred got blocked by the backboard. Sacre tips it to himself. Gonzaga was looking to push. Good look from Stockton. Dower with that left hand.
Dower taking a page out of Robert Sacre, getting deep in the post. Again, turning right over that left shoulder. Did so before the double team could come.
Kyle Marshall, wild spin move. Here comes Guy Landry-Eddy. 1 against 3. Eddy with contact. And Butler comes away with the ball. Fromm in transition, commits the foul.
We'll take a look at the positioning of Robert Sacre. Perfect positioning, held it, was ready for it. Fromm just out of control on the catch.
Well, the head coach for Butler, Brad Stevens, just had one word for his guys after that play. Why? Said it over and over again. Sloppy play by Butler in terms of taking care of the ball. Down 6 at Gonzaga.
But this is very similar to what we've seen out of Butler all season long. They have yet to shoot better than 50% from the field in any game in which they've played it.
Harris, up and under move, draws the foul. Elias Harris back to the free throw line.
That's 2 quick fouls on Fromm.
Eric Fromm, who had the first 5 points for Butler at the start of the game. 2 fouls in 2 possessions.
I think you look at the West Coast Conference, you mentioned Elias Harris. One of those guys that when you think about player of the year in this conference, his name is certainly going to be one that's tossed around. We've still got a long way to go before we can get to conference play, as it starts on December 29th. A great matchup between BYU, who's new to the conference this year in the West Coast Conference, and St. Mary's. But Elias Harris, with the way he's rebounding the basketball, to me that's the most important key, is how he's rebounding the basketball to go along with his scoring output.
More pressure from Gonzaga after the free throw. Elias Harris has 8 points in the first half, still better than 8 minutes to go. Sean mentioned the shooting struggles over the top, and what a play by Kyle Marshall. Hard to miss those when you can get up that high. Spectacular lob. With a sophomore, Kyle Marshall. Harris working against Marshall. Contact, no whistle. Marshall rips it away, and a good outlet falling down. Norred with the defense back, scores anyway.
He gathered himself that time, surveyed it, was patient, and able to finish.
Down low, Sacre for the dunk. Butler coming into this game out of 338 Division I programs, number 304 in shooting percentage. A near turnover there. Norred is going to call timeout. And Norred gets the timeout to prevent the turnover. Gonzaga with the 6-point lead, 7:21 to go in the first half. Back here, holiday time. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers from Spokane. Gonzaga with a 24-18 lead, but what a play by Butler.
You're going to watch this. This action comes over here. He's then going to loop around and get a wide open alley-oop dunk. It's setting the screen. Sacre shows, able to finish. Nice execution and a beautiful pass, really, from the outside through it, where his man could only be the one that got it. Kyle Marshall with a great finish.
Butler at practice today worked on lob passes, and that work I think paid off. That was as good as it gets.
Marshall 6 out of the last 8 points for Butler.
Just 6'6", Kyle Marshall, but an explosive athlete down low. Chase to Gall, much more of an outside shooter. Got his shot rejected by Sacre there.
It'll be a shot clock violation, and that's great help side defense by Robert Sacre.
So the block plus the shot clock violation. Robert Sacre, some intimidation down low. Gonzaga with the early lead. All right, thanks, Jonathan. Robert Sacre, part of this Gonzaga team. Big man on campus. Gonzaga leads 24-18 against Butler in the first half. We want to remind you, Thursday night ESPN2 has a college basketball doubleheader for you at 7 Eastern. Two teams that have played well in the early season. Memphis and Georgetown, 9 Eastern. Great rivalry, Illinois and Missouri. ESPN2 on Thursday.
Look at this game that we've got right now between Butler and Gonzaga. And Robert Sacre doing a lot of great work underneath, but Butler, almost a quarter of their possessions in the first half have resulted in a turnover. And you're not going to win games on the road turning the ball over a fourth of the time.
Brad Stevens knows that. I'm sure part of what was talked about in the huddle for Butler. Down by 6 with 7:06 to go in this first half. The freshman Kevin Pangos handles the ball and brings it up for Gonzaga.
I continue to attack down low in the paint if you're Gonzaga.
Butler trying to cut that off, but they just parted the middle and let Pangos score.
So much attention being focused on Robert Sacre down low. Unwilling to let him loose. Wide open lane down the middle.
Pangos was the beneficiary. Here's Hopkins, the runner, over Sacre.
Aggressiveness from Butler. Hopkins has had some big games for them this season. Twice he's already scored over 20 points, but he's struggled the last couple of games. Just 5 for his last 19 over the last 4 games.
Pangos perfect for 3. He's starting to feel confident out there. Kevin Pangos had the remarkable second game of the year of his college career. Hit 9 threes here against Washington State. Kyle Marshall feeling it here in the first half.
Nice job spotting up, ready to play. And what he's doing is he's trying to step Robert Sacre off the block. And I think this is a smart move by the Butler Bulldogs and Coach Stevens. Try to take him away, maybe create lanes too for your guards to penetrate.
Gary Bell, freshman guard, back to Pangos. Immediately down low, Sacre with the double team there. Ten to shoot for Pangos and Gonzaga. Harris trying to feed Sacre. Ball tipped away, and Hopkins steals it. Here's Ronald Norred. And Marshall, no good on the 3. Pangos, second one. From outside for the freshman Kevin Pangos.
He mentioned that great performance game 2 against Washington State. He had just made 3 out of his last 18 shots in the last 2 games. He's already exceeded that in this one.
Hopkins couldn't rattle it home, and there's a good defensive rebound by Harris. Pangos outlet to his fellow freshman. Elias Harris off the bounce, off the glass. Timeout, Butler.
Breakdowns in defense, when you have to focus so much underneath, it's often going to allow guys to find themselves open on the outside. You pay attention to the inside, they'll hurt you from the outside. They've got great balance here in Spokane.
It's rocking here in the Kennel, and Butler, one of the very best defensive teams in all of college football, but Gonzaga not playing like it, really looking smooth on offense.
Well, what they do is they try to establish things down low, and then it opens up the perimeter game. And Pangos, we saw him turn the corner, get an easy layup, shoot him from the outside, 2 for 3 from behind the arc already, 4 of 5 from the field. The efficiency in which he's playing with, he's not playing like a freshman. His assist to turnover ratio has been outstanding the last couple of games. He's really got a great grasp right now of what Mark Few needs out of him.
The Butler's defense getting victimized. Their offense struggling in this first half. Aldridge, nice dish though to Jones, but a foul.